Hey everyone, Damien the Kung Fit Coach here, and today we're going to be talking about how to improve your punching speed. First, if you haven't already, do hit the subscribe button, make sure you stay up to date on all my future videos, and of course you can follow me on Instagram, and if you find this useful, please hit the like button. Right, let's look at how you can get your hands moving at lightning speed then. Alright, so we're trying to punch as fast as possible. Now, it may seem silly to say this, but the first thing you want to think about is trying to punch faster. If you think about punching quickly, you're going to punch quickly. Whereas if you think about trying to punch with power, you're going to slow down. Now, interestingly, a study looked at martial artists trying to punch as hard as they can and trying to punch as fast as they can. Those trying to think, I want to punch really fast, they did punch faster, but interestingly, they actually punched harder as well. And that's because a lot of your punching power actually comes from how quickly you're moving. So, thing number one, just think about being fast. Next, we want to talk about relaxation. If you're really tense, you're stiff, you're gonna move more slowly. Really tight, it's just a lot of effort, it's not gonna really happen. You need to be loose, you need to be relaxed. And that needs to come through your entire body, but especially your shoulders and especially your arms. They need to be as loose and as relaxed as possible. So you just throw your hands out there, lots of speed, nothing really restricting the muscles from moving. So don't hunch your shoulders right up, try and be a bit more relaxed with them. Don't tense your arms, again, be relaxed, and with your hands. Again, don't tense. When you actually throw the punch, you need to tense that hand up so you've got a good solid striking impact. You don't want to hit with limp fingers. But before you initiate the move, keep the hands relaxed, and then punch and tense as the hand is on the way out. This can be difficult at first. Beginners especially tend to have a lot of tension in the shoulders. And a technique that I found really helpful to get you used to this idea of relaxation and how that impacts your speed is to actually either hang or get someone to hold a bit of newspaper for you. A broadsheet's generally a bit easier because it's a larger piece of paper. Just hang it or hold it at one edge, so not taut, completely loose, and try and be as relaxed as you possibly can, and then punch through the paper. Might sound a little bit silly, surely paper, really easy to punch through, but because you're just holding it on one edge and it's dangling down, actually if you don't punch fast enough, the paper just moves out of your way. But if you can get enough speed, you can actually go through the paper because you're moving faster than the paper is. Caveat on this, if you punch downwards, you're just going to rip it, and that's cheating. That's not because you're punching faster, that's just because of the angle you're going. So try and still punch straight and keep the shoulders as relaxed as possible. And you'll know that you're relaxed when you're fast enough to punch through that little bit of paper. The next thing I recommend for improving your punching speed is timing yourself. Now obviously punches are very quick, so just doing it with a stopwatch isn't going to work. Your reaction times aren't going to be fast enough to capture someone else's punch, definitely not your own punch. But most people have a slow motion camera on their phones these days, so you can switch that on and you can count the number of frames between you starting and finishing your punch. That way you can track progress, you can try and spot things that might be slowing you down and try and generally improve your technique this way. Something else you can do is not just think about the actual punching speed, but reaction time as well. Now you can see here I've got a phone just taped to the top of the bag there, and I'm basically using that as a signal of when to punch. Every time the screen goes dark, I move in and I throw a punch. So I'm training my reaction time as well as trying to train my punching speed. Now, I'm not doing particularly well on the reaction times here, to be perfectly honest. First time I actually tried this, I've done reaction drills plenty with people before, but COVID times, got to make do. So I thought, well, this would be a good idea for solo training. You've got a signal to react to, so you're actually properly training that reaction time. But it's a little bit strange at first, and it takes a little while for your brain to get used to responding to certain signals. So I certainly need more practice on this to to get used to this drill. Now you can do this filming for multiple things. You can do it for just standing next to the bag and throwing punches. You can do it for stepping in and throwing the punch as well, so gaining that distance on your opponent. But you just want to essentially track the number of frames just by cycling through in any basic video editing software that you might have on your phone maybe, or on your computer. And that'll allow you to know how quickly you're punching. You can make a note and then, as I say, try and improve it. The other great thing about filming yourself in slow motion in this way is you get to be really critical with your technique. You see so much that you probably wouldn't see in normal speed because it's happening too quickly. For example, I've noticed by filming myself in super slow-mo that when I throw a punch, I'm actually not bringing my hand straight back. It's coming down just a little bit. Not very much, not all the way down and then back up, but it's enough that it's not as perfect as it could be. So that's something that I'm now going to have to work on. Now that I know it's a problem, I need to fix it. So you can time your speed, but you can also really perfect the technique. So slow motion filming, fantastic tool to use. So last but not least, we need to talk about technique. General body kind of position mechanics, your thought process all help, but if your technique is rubbish, then obviously you're never going to punch particularly quickly. So you need to make sure that whichever punch it is that you're throwing, you practice that technique lots and lots to make it smooth, make it automatic. You think throw a hook, you throw a hook. You think jab, you jab. You think cross, you cross. And it just happens automatically, and the body doesn't really have to think too much to make it happen. And that being said, there's also certain variations on technique that you can do to make things move faster. So let's take the jab, really good example of where we can mix things up a little than we might normally do them and make things move faster. So standard kind of jab, standing square, we turn our body, one shoulder comes back, other shoulder goes forward, and we throw it out. Pretty simple. We might have a step in there, might step and turn, and that's our basic jab technique. Obviously some details in there, but we'll keep it at that for now. What I found is that, bizarrely, you can actually get a lot more, well, a bit more speed by using your rear leg more than your body. And actually I find it gets a little bit of extra power in there as well. So the technique is, rather than standing square and twisting, we're going to try and use a wave motion through the body. So it starts in the leg. We push the heel back, we push the knee back, and we push that hip on the rear leg forward, like this. Okay? So kind of generating power, generating speed from that rear leg pushing off. From there, we want to, again, keep the upper body relatively relaxed and create this kind of wave motion. Obviously, I'm repeating it here to demonstrate. You wouldn't just stand there doing this, but push back, hip goes forward, and let that come up the body in a wave. So stomach comes forward, then chest, shoulders finally. Okay? So the power, the motion is coming up through the ground, through the leg, through the hips, into the body, and finally the shoulders go forward. And then when the shoulders are going forward, you're throwing the arm as well. So rather than twisting, we're actually relatively straightforward. We still want a little bit of a twist, but I find you don't twist quite as much because you've got that wave motion. So doing it quickly, it looks a little bit like this. So we push, we get that wave, and then we throw the hand. Okay? So normal jab versus the wave. Okay? I didn't try and put any extra power in there. I wasn't in a different position, but you could probably see it looked like there's a little bit more impact on the bag. And I found that the hand actually moves a little bit faster. So using that slow-mo camera trick I just talked about, looking at the speed difference in the punch I actually used the Swedish ladder here as a reference point because it's quite difficult to work out exactly when your punch starts if you're not doing something like a reaction drill. So having a fixed frame of reference, essentially I was standing here, my hand would get to about this distance away from my body, it'd be in line with the Swedish ladder, and then I'd time the length of time it took to get from there to impact the bag. And I actually found that using this technique, I was 15% faster using this wave than I was with a normal jab. Now, obviously in real world terms, that's not a huge difference, but it is still faster, it's still a difference, and it could make a difference in a sparring situation, in a self-defense situation. And I have to say that I am a lot less familiar with this technique than I am a standard jab. I've been doing standard jab for many, many years, whereas this one, only a couple of years, and to be honest, haven't really had a huge amount of opportunity to, haven't made the opportunity to train it anywhere near as much. So I expect if I got a lot more comfortable with it, again, back to your body not really have to think and just doing things, I think it would be even faster as well. So here's some more slow-mo footage of me doing this technique, just so that you can get an idea of what a full speed version looks like in slow motion, get a better idea of the understanding of the technique. Alright, so a quick recap on that then. Push that rear leg back, front hip goes forward, we use our body like a wave and throw that hand out. Leg goes, hip goes, body goes, hand throws out. And it doesn't matter where you're throwing the punch from, the arm acts like the end of that wave. Throw on top of that the relaxation, the thinking about going fast, and the practice to make things automatic. And your jabs especially, you're going to be lightning quick, but using those techniques you can also improve the speed of your other punches as well. So hopefully you found this really useful. Do give this wave jab a try. A little bit awkward at first, but it definitely makes a difference. I talked a little bit about how I find this reaction to the phone switching off a little bit unnatural. Need to get used to that. But when I've used this wave punch against other people, both in sparring and in reaction, blocking and punching as quickly as you can kind of drills, it's been really effective. Has seen a clear advantage over just a standard jab. So yeah, give it a go. If you found this video useful, do hit the like button, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.